Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Welcome to this afternoon's Kabbalat Shabbat. Welcome to Rabbi Benji Meyers, who's here with us from Israel. We're going to have a big Shabbat. It's Israel Shabbat today, as well as being Shabbat Shekalim and all the usual things. So we're going to have a very memorable time. So we're going to start now with Stuart, who's going to give us a Devar Torah. Over to you, Stuart.
Okay, thank you, Irene. Good Shabbos, everybody. I'm dedicating this to Devar Torah to mark both the yahrzeit of my father, which was Yitzchak ben Chaim Reuven, which was on Tu B'Shvat, and to the memory and the 40th yahrzeit of his mother, Lottie Lee, Zalata bat Shlomo Yaakov, who was on last Wednesday, the 26th of Adar 1. The connection between both yahrzeits are Eretz Israel. And last week's laning and the mufti tomorrow, as well as Tikkun Olam and the mitzvah of Bedek Habayit, the upkeep of the temple, these are all the connections for this week. Tu B'Shvat is the new year for trees, which marked the very beginning of spring and the start of growth and development of our trees. In Israel, it is around Tu B'Shvat time that the almond trees start to blossom. This is the renewal, Tikkun Olam, putting the world and its ecology back into place. As we learn in Mishnah 1 of Rosh Hashanah, there are 4 new years in the year. The first of Nisan, for the months and the length of the reigns of the Jewish kings. First of Elul, for the ages of the animals for tithing purposes. The first of Tishri for years and for Teshuvah, and the 15th of Shavat, the new year for trees. Last week, toward the end of the longest Sheni portion in the year, God tells Moshe that he and the people are to leave this place and head to the land which he forswore to Abraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, and that he will have angels or angels leading the people to walk on the journey, and that they are told to go, as it says in chapter 33, verse 3, to the land of flowing of milk and honey, Eretz Zavat Chalav Udavash. Then, a bit later on in Shishi, there are the commandments of the Shlosh Regalim. There is the phrase in chapter 34, verse 24, when you go up to see the presence of Hashem your God 3 times in the year, referring to making Ole Regel, to going up to Jerusalem. The connections continue with the Maftir, which is actually the first 6 verses of last week's Zedra. We are, in the Maftir, commanded to give the Machatzit HaShekel, the half-shekel donation to the temple. This was a 2-pronged donation. The first part was to act as the annual census of the people, and the other was toward the proceeds of this donation was to go to Bedek Habayit, to upkeep the temple. In Masechet Megillah, Daf 30a, there is a discussion of what should happen if Shabbat Kitisa and Shabbat Shekalim fall on the same week. Do we take out 2 Sifrei Torah or just roll the main Sefer back to the beginning of the Sedra? This was an interesting halachic debate, since the calendar has been formally fixed by Rabbi Hillel II, they can no longer coincide. The options are discussed, and the halacha was fixed that 2 Sifrei Torah have to be taken out, Difvod Shabbat Shekalim, in honor of Shabbat Shekalim and its maftir. Finally, I return to the memory of my grandmother. Her Hebrew name was Zalata, a variation and derivative of the word zloty, as silver coins, and the half shekel was given in silver. It was her 40th yahrzeit this year, but what also made it even more apt this year, because she died on the 29th of February. May her memory, as well as my dear dad's, be only for a blessing. The Shabbos.
Shakayach.
Thank you so much, Stuart. It was nice the way you linked everything together like that. Thank you. I think, sorry, can I just ask Rabbi Meyers, I think you wanted to say something. Do you want to do it after we've done Kabbalat Shabbat or now?
As you wish. I mean, you're capable.
Better if we do it better now, because then I can record the whole thing together.
Okay. So,
Okay, then.
Okay, welcome.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity to join you both in person and virtually. And tomorrow, as well as reading Parashat Vayakhel and Parashat Pekudei and finishing the book of Shmot. Sorry, it's Vayakhel, isn't it? I have no idea which country I'm in, let alone what time zone.
It's Vayakhel in English.
Just Vayakhel. Right. If it wasn't a leap year, it would be joined. So Vayakhel, and coming to the end of the book of Shmot and also Parashat Shkalim, we also bless the new month as we move into Adar the 2nd, and that means Purim is 2 weeks away. So with your permission, what I'd like to do is touch on something from the Megillah, something from the Parashah, and something from life at the moment, particularly in Israel, but it's true for the world over. So looking at the Megillah, at the book of Esther, there is one thing that springs to mind as we look at it, one of the main characters of the book, that of Haman, and that is to say, Haman was absolutely right. There is no question in my mind that Haman was right. He turns around to Achashverosh and says, Yeshno am echad mefuzar u'meforad bein ha'amim. There is this nation that is spread out, that's divided among all your other nations. Achashverosh ruled over 127 countries, and there's this nation that's spread out, that's divided among all your nations. It's better off that we should be without them. Let's do away with them, thank you. And what can I say? He's right. We're a disjointed, divided nation. We see it in everything that we do. Right? Certainly in Israeli society, you have the right and the left, you have the religious and the non-religious, and even within the religious world, you have the ultra-Orthodox, you have the Orthodox, you have the more nationalistic, the less nationalistic. It's really just division after division after division. And as somebody who's spent a bit of time all over the world, I was born in England but grew up in Israel, Australia, spent 5 years in America as well. I see it, I know it. We're divided. If we look at the parasha for a moment, we'll notice that there is something that happened in the parasha that has never repeated itself in Jewish history. God turned around to Moshe and commanded him that you should instruct the people to bring donations. Asking people for donations is something the Jewish people have done since that time, and we carry on doing it to this very day. However, something that happened with the Mishkan, with the tabernacle, that hasn't happened since, the people who were bringing the money in, who were collecting it, who were counting it, the gold, the silver, and so on, turned around to Moshe and said, we have too much. And Moshe turns around and says, tell the people to stop. And that's what they did. They told the people to stop bringing donations. It's astounding if you think about it. Right? This is something that was there as a response to the golden calf. The people wanted to bring. And Moshe is now turning around and saying, you have to stop. And indeed, the people stopped. It said, Vayikhel me'avi. The people were literally, they imprisoned themselves, okay, in order to not bring. So what's that got to do with Haman? And why do I think Haman was right? Haman was right, but he didn't know it. He thought that the emphasis should be Yeshno Am Echad Mefuzar Umeforad Bein Ha'amim, that this nation is spread out, it's disjointed, it's at loggerheads with one another throughout the world. However, the beginning of his sentence is really where he's correct. Yeshno Am Echad. There is this one nation. Because really, when it comes to having to get together, at times of trouble, at times of joy, we are one people, we're united. And if you look at Parashat Shkalim, right, we're instructed to bring a machatzita shekel, a half shekel. And the commentators add, why do you only want a half shekel? Because in order to complete it, somebody else has to bring the other half. There has to be unity. People have to work together. So when it comes to the Mishkan, God wanted certain things and no more. And that's why the people were stopped from bringing any more. But from that time forward, any community program that we have, any project that we do, we try and give of ourselves as much as we can. We try and work together as much as we possibly can. And that's something that we see at this time of war, where the Jewish world has just come together, it's united, it's donating time, resources, money, prayers, right? People who haven't been connected to the Jewish world in the last 20, 30 years have suddenly turned around and said, I need to do something, I need to feel that I'm part of this nation. So Vayakhel and the Mishkan was a one-off, because it was a specific thing that they were looking for, and God knew what he wanted, and after that, that's it. But the lesson is, Yeshno Am Echad, there is one nation. We're united, we're together. And even if we sometimes disagree with each other, as every family has sometimes disagreements, that's fine, that's great. But really, when it comes down to the ultimate idea, the concept of the Jewish people, we are one nation. And we've had people like Haman standing over us and trying to destroy us, and Pharaoh, and any number of examples throughout Jewish history, and we're seeing another example now. And we know that God has promised to always be with us. We're with him. We will stay one nation. We will overcome. We will come through it all together. And I look forward to spending Shabbat together with you. Thank you very much.
Shakar, thank you so much for that, Rabbi Meyers. Okay. Robert, welcome. And we're looking forward to your Kabbalat Shabbat. Thank you.